Okay, so hello everybody and welcome to this month's World Hope Forum. We're very excited about today's event because it's going to be an art and craft market coming to us from Helsinki. And many of you are maybe joining for the first time, so don't forget to follow World Hope Forum on Instagram, where you'll be told about all the latest editions each month. And please also spread the word and get many of your friends to watch the live sessions, because it's very important that we connect as a creative community and that we're all here online together. Today's event is from Finland, and we're going to welcome Mirkku Kullberg, who is our ambassador. But before we go to her, I'll just introduce you to Li Edelkoort, who started the World Hope Forum with us a year ago, or over a year ago. And she will be interviewing Mirkku for the first session, so enjoy.
Hi, everybody. It's amazing to be a get-together. And this is our chance to do real Christmas shopping, because there is no shortage here. This is a system which doesn't suffer from shortages because it's made in the region, it's transported in the region, and it can even be replenished while you wait sometimes. So that's a whole new way of thinking about gifting, thinking about making, thinking about manufacturing, and how a country can turn around as well on its own knowledge and craft traditions. The World Hope Forum is, we founded the World Hope Forum to be together as a club, as a group, as a team, as a future thinkers, because we believe that we need to turn this very big ship around, and to turn it around we will need time, energy, and people. So we need to be together, to listen to each other's stories, to learn from each other, to convince each other that other practices are possible, that other worldviews are possible, that hope is on the horizon, that not everything is lost, but that we can turn it around if we work together as a team, as a community. So we want to build this community, and that is why we started this whole thing with ambassadors in important countries, and we have already seen quite an incredible array of speakers, which you can find on YouTube, so you can go back also in time. I was really, really excited when we got an email from Mirkku Kullberg to get in touch with us about the World Hope Forum. And then when we Zoomed, which is what we do nowadays, I was even more excited when I listened to her world vision, and also to how she came to that vision and how she changed her life profoundly. And I saw this is such an amazing opportunity for all of us to learn how somebody has the guts to follow its instinct at each time, at each turn of life. And therefore, I want her to be the first speaker. And this is why we make it an interview form. So shall we start, Mirkku?
Yes, with pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Li and Philip, for inviting us for the World Hope Forum, and also just being able to host this event from here. You know, actually, I'm sitting here in Hidako Omo, which is a seaweed pavilion in a corner of this department store, which we are having here, the second floor department store, and which we have created. And I'm watching the city of Helsinki, how people are walking around there, and it's really fascinating. And I'm so excited of all guests, because people make the things, and now we have the people around just waiting to tell their stories as well. It's super exciting.
There is a lot of background sounds. Everybody else should mute their computers, please. And maybe if there's people in vicinity, they should move away a little bit, because Zoom is a very primitive system still, and is making the background noises stronger than the speakers. So please try to give the speakers' voices prominence. Mirkku, you actually had a long career in design, but before that you also worked in fashion, you told me. So how did that happen and what did you do?
You know, I was actually became to work in fashion very early stage, and I was probably 23 and started working in the fur industry. In Finland, there were, I think that Finland was one of the most respected and country where the most beautiful fur coats were made, beside Italy. And there were several factories where the craftsmanship was there. And I somehow in the city where I'm living, a small town actually in the southern Finland, there was a factory where the ladies were working, and I joined that team. I think I was 23, and so I worked with the several companies, like 3 different companies during my career, when I just returned to another sort of competitor actually in this Loviisa where I was living, for saving that company. That I was asked to see that if that company could be saved. It was really in bad financial situation, and ended up in the chapter 11 at the end. And I remember when I was asking the people that, do they think that this is the world's best company, which I thought it was. You know, an elderly lady of age of 62, I think she stood up in the coffee room where we had this talk together, because we know that the situation was horrible. And she told Mirkku, I don't think that this is the best company in the world, but that's definitely the best company in Europe. It's worthwhile. Then I thought it's worthwhile of fighting for their work and their skills and talents, what they had there. So I worked with that industry until 2002, when I just felt that I couldn't sign the fur farming at all. And I felt really just kind of that I think that it had gone far too far, and all of my values and ideas about that just kind of, despite that the work was so amazing. So I left the industry, and I also wanted to leave fashion, because I also thought that it was getting too hectic. There's too much going on, and all of these seasons and middle seasons and additional collections. So I just thought that it's not my thing anymore. And then I joined design, and I joined Artek at that time.
And I've just a question about fur. Would you think that it ever is possible to reconsider fur in a new way?
As a sort of farm animals, I don't think so. I think
maybe in relation to food production or hunting.
Yes, sheepskins, I definitely think, which is that's a different, but farmed animals, I don't believe. But I'm meaning farm animals, like wild animals taken into farming. That I don't think anymore. I think sheepskins, there are different materials, even wild animals. Why not? If they had been just kind of accidentally died or whatever. So, but since that whole farming got, it's not kind of ethically right to sort of mutate the animals at all. It's that area, that's so history, I think.
Yeah, it's only sort of in a hunter gathering.
Hunter gathering, yes, and that would be, I think that we should do actually as well.
But before you went to design, you manufactured with another company, which was working from yarn to clothes, and you had your merchandise all over the world in the best boutiques.
Yeah, that was
remember United Arrows and Berlin and New York.
Yeah, that was super exciting story. You know, after it was 2002, I was asked to join Nouveau as a brand director, which was actually really funny. Just kind of, I remember my mother asking me that, what does this kind of brand director do? And I said, you know, it's just we are building the story, and we are building the marketing and the product range. And she told me, but you know, this company is so old-fashioned. It was Nouveau that, you know, it's only night gowns, and actually your father is polishing the car with that because it's such a great quality. And I was laughing, and I was kind of, oh my God, it's not that. But eventually we got they had already started to recruit and get on board like young designers, and they had made so amazing prints, because that company was able to sort of, they were able to knit the yarns, they were able to dye them, they were able to print them and sew them to garments. So it was really from yarn to product. And that's really, really rare. I remember there was a stage when the American Apparel were trying to acquire the machinery from there because they were so amazing. So we worked in 2.5 years. We got that brand like in a very in super exciting stores in Japan, like United Arrows, Bay Cruise, Beams, Isetan. And we got like superstore like Respectless in Berlin, and in London good stores, in Denmark as well, and even in Sweden, which is always difficult because Stockholm is so complicated with that to get on board there. And but then we were ready to just kind of even expanding and starting. We thought about like having this kind of basic standard range, which actually would be just kind of these basic units what you need from Trico and Jersey. So, and then I was supposed to go and find investors to help this world expansion. And we found them eventually in Sweden, but then the owners decided and the board decided to stay in the malls in Finland. And that beautiful brand actually went back to kind of the whole work disappeared. And
back to your father to
yeah, back to my father's kind of garage or whatever. Not this kind of, but it's still existing and still having the, not the production anymore in Finland, which is a pity. But I think that was.
They asked you, the same group asked you, do you want to try your hands on Artek, because they understood you're a brand builder, isn't it? That was the reason, I guess.
Yes, and then Proventus, who was one of the private equity companies in Swedish, Robert Wiles, who has founded the company, actually, their CEO, Daniel Sachs, asked me, what if you couldn't work with Nanso for just turning it to international, what if you would come on board for Artek? And I was very hesitant because I thought that it's such an iconic, such a kind of amazing company. And I also thought it was a little bit stagnated. So I thought that whoever touches is gonna be like criticized or so much that, I thought that it just would need to breathe and get the voice again, what it had when it was founded in 1935. But I started with Artek, and that was it was such an important chapter in my life. It really turned my thinking in a different level.
But you told me that they thought of themselves as an international company, but everything was written in Finnish, so nobody could ever read anything in that company.
Yeah, because we were so thinking about what if we would be having team in like in US or in Japan and or maybe later on, so having like international people on board as well, which wouldn't be necessarily native Finnish speaking people. So all of the computer systems and even the product names were in Finnish. So it was completely impossible to sort of kind of get that kind of internally the internationalization process happening. But then we just started the work and we got amazing people on board and I think very fast we got it like and having like an access and foothold in different countries and different cities and different architect offices. And I think we were able to really combine the art and technology and bring in the art part and experiment. And just kind of, I think we did it's just kind of wanted to, Artek has a voice and be a medium.
And so it's also technology with an organic shape, which makes it still so incredibly human, which I think is what Scandinavian design is all about. But you made that company very, very famous one day in 2007. I will remember all my life when I walked into that showroom. Can you narrate that event?
Well, you mean the Salone Biennale Park when we built the pavilion with Shigeru Ban. And this is an amazing story because Ville Kokkonen had joined us as a design director as well. And I actually met Ville one day on the street in New York, and I said, hey, you have great energy, come and join. And he came and we talked with Ville that it would be amazing to do pavilions like Aalto did. So, and he had found an edge cover material, which was a paper plastic composite. And we thought that what if we would make a pavilion of that, because we wouldn't dare to think about making products of that. So we got we were wondering who would be the great architect, and we thought Shigeru Ban, and we went to meet him on top floor of the Pompidou Center, and he said definitely he wants to be on board. And UPM, this big dinosaurs paper company in Finland, said we will be on board and we will provide the raw materials. And Ban wanted to have the students to build it. So yes, and we built a pavilion, and we were so excited about the pavilion, so we didn't really remember, or just couldn't have the energy or time or whatever to think what we're going to show there. So, and Salon is all about the new things. And so I remember I was with Tom Dixon, who was our creative director that time, and in January 2007 in London, and we were looking at the pieces which had been like in process to be shown in Salon, and we both agreed that there was nothing. They were too early stage, and so again we were like, and we don't have anything. And I took a flight.
Scary.
Sorry.
Scary at that point.
Scary, yeah, it was really scary because we were sitting and watching the pieces. They were, in the showroom, and it's kind of no, this is not gonna work. So I flew to Cologne to a fair, and I was sitting there, and I said, oh my God, we will be there, and people will be so disappointed because we will be showing old Aalto, the classical old Aalto, because obviously we were anyhow going to show that, but it's kind of because media was and people so excited to get something novelties. So that wouldn't be the thing. So, but it looked so good to write old Aalto on the paper. And I thought, what if? And I called Tom and asked Tom, what if we would be just showing old used pieces, and let's state that sustainability as an attitude. And that was 2007. That was kind of very, very, and he was, yes, do that. And just kind of, that was a very short phone call. And we started gathering the pieces from flea markets, online sales, everywhere, people's attics, garages, homes, and we bought like 400 pieces. And I could show you some slides if you want to see them, but we had 327 or 67 pieces, all dodgy pieces, which had different layers of colors and paints, and that really changed my life, because I really thought that, why buy new if you could like have old ones as well. And we stayed kind of that way. The Artek second cycle was born, or early stage. We kept it like a year because we didn't know how to price them either, because
But you made a deal with Comme des Garçons, right? With the little stools.
Yes. So Comme des Garçons, Microsoft, and Sony approached us. Sony, for curiosity what we were doing, Microsoft wanted to buy some pieces, and they even contacted Proventus later, kind of during that spring, and said that they really want to buy the 50 pieces, but the company CEO Artek doesn't want to sell, because I said I don't know how to sell them. But then Comme des Garçons contacted us, and we thought that would be a perfect match, because Comme des Garçons had a kind of attitude and dared to show that kind of move what we did. And our sort of relationship started with that company and Ray and Adrian, and we did several cool projects put together, fragrance and
well, I remember so vividly that I walked into this space and I saw all these tools, and they had also little cards with the story of who had been using, several families sometimes handing down.
Yeah,
it was so emotional, and it was so right, and it was so well seen, and it completely opened a future for a very new thinking.
Yeah.
And when we speak of sustainability, many people speak about recycling in easy terms. But what of course is here the great strength is that the design is so good. So if the design is so good, the sustainability is gifted in the project. So that was so clear, and I think it set a tone which everybody must have, it was sort of a shock treatment to the world. And I thank you for that, because that was very important.
Yeah, it was life-changing for me as well. And it's kind of...
But then you went to Vitra, and then you were not so happy. So then what happened with your life?
Now, you know, Artek was acquired by Vitra in 2014, and I moved to Basel. And obviously, after this acquisition, you should always think about what yourself is doing. And I was pretty sad about that. Somehow sad and happy. That was so like a bittersweet thing. Because Artek needed a bigger home in a way for industrial also company who could take care of it for the future. And but I also then just kind of this whole scaling and the growth was disturbing me, and I thought that it's kind of why are we just kind of really trying to bring more furniture in the industry, because maybe we should be studying it differently. And I returned to Finland and wanted to take a little bit time, started to work with a hotel group, and actually did one hotel in Helsinki as a creative director, which is, I'm very happy for that project as well. Was invited to move to US and work for another big industrial leader in design industry. And during these last years, I was thinking that it's not my cup of tea anymore. I didn't find my place anymore, thinking about this growth, sitting in the boardrooms as a board member and or executive groups and just looking for new campaigns and pushing more and more almost similar stuff on the market. So I just kind of let it go. I must say that with this virus last year, it really just kind of came for me in a momentum that I was ready. I needed to decide differently.
Yeah.
I was so scared. I was like, I was living alone in New York in the South End and walking to Soho in the mornings and evenings, and just thinking that letting go this high position and earnings and all of the benefits what you are having when you're doing this. At the same time, can I think about how my grandchildren are kind of how they're living, and can I sign my last 7 years? I couldn't.
Yeah, and so you went back to your home country.
Yeah.
And then you sort of went on a new sabbatical work, I could say.
Yeah, we founded Glasshouse Helsinki last year. We wanted to build something transparent and new for new companies and seeds and ideas and plans, which would be just something which we are very early stage. We just got these locations from a Finnish pension company. They show these doers and thinkers and protagonists works, and we created together like this thing what we are now showing here, and we are super happy about the response. We know that we are doing right thing. Whether it's successful economically remains to be seen, but fact is that we need to try. We need certain kind of activism, make things moving, whether we are the pioneers or whether we are the
But the exchange rate is also the happiness of the people, of the craft people and the public, I guess.
Yes, and they are very happy when they come. People are so happy when they come, even like customers, like end consumers. They feel kind of mind peace somehow.
This is the first ever department store of craft, is it? I think.
Might be, yeah. There's a craft and there's art and there's an arts and craft and there's a like sustainably like produced clothing and just experimental things and kind of.
So we are going to see all that. We are going to experience many of the different aspects of this wonderful place. Yeah. You are going to guide us through us and run your program. I think we will see a few of your pictures somewhere in the middle. I'm super happy I've met you. I think you are a leader, a thought leader, and I hope many people will take their own courage to also change their lives. And so let's go for the World Hope Forum from Finland.
Thank you. Thank you, Li. Thank you so much.